Yo, what's up guys? Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to take a look at my new song, Keep It Movin', out on StoryTime Records and their Chapter 5 Book Club compilation. I had a great time making this song. It's a lot of fun, big energy dance song. There's a bunch of techniques in here that I think that you guys might be able to use in your own song. So I want to go over those with you, break down the layers, break down how I wrote the song, and let's get it. Alright guys, here we are in the project. Let's take a look at the song from the build, in case you're not familiar with it, just to get a feel for it, and we'll go from there. Alright, let's take a look and dive in. On the build here, obviously I've got some of the drums that came in from the intro, and I like to filter those in a little bit. So sometimes I'll do that, but I'll take the whole drum group here and I'll filter them in with some automation. So a low pass here. And sometimes I'll use this high pass. On here I didn't, but you can just hear it's just kind of slowly creeping in. That along here with the snare build, everything's just kind of building the tension there. There's also this ARP lead, quote unquote. I'll play that here for you. I did some automation on that too, and what that pattern is just a nod to the bass line, so you get a feel for the groove and the swing of the song, so it kind of gets you ready for that drop to hit. So I do some automation, obviously with some filtering there too. There was a little bit of some delay stuff going on there as well, where I hit the delay on this last note and then just kind of let it fizzle out. Along with, sweeping out some of these lows here with the high pass and sweeping out just a little bit of those highs, just so it kind of thins it out and lets that build really come in, get in your face, and then smash into the drop. So there's also in this candy parts section that I've got a little siren. That's also filtering in. And then the bass line too. So the bass line, cut the lows out here with a filter, and then that's slowly creeping in as well. In the intro, and this is really kind of like a break section here, there was a respace playing, just kind of building the tension from the intro. So as soon as this ends here, and I'll play just maybe half of the break. Oh, let's unmute it. So that respace ends, there's this sub drop down here that releases that energy from the respace and lets us slowly start filtering in that bass line. So you, like I said, just kind of with that ARP before, it starts giving you some of that energy going towards the drop and gets you ready to just pound it out. So what else do I got in here in the build? I got these vocals, teasing the vocals a little bit. The Keep It Movin' comes in here. I've also got this here, the yeah we that starts coming in here, just teasing a little bit of what's going to be coming in, in the drop. So like I said, you just start getting that feeling of what's going on here, and then some effects down here at the bottom, crashes, downlifters, a couple of just like some impacts. This one I really like here. This is kind of just like an ambiance air kind of impact. I like using it though because I think it adds a lot of just atmosphere to transitions and things like that. I got it sweeping up here too. I'll let you listen to that. So all these little things kind of help with that, another impact, and then a couple risers to just obviously build that tension for that drop. Automating some reverb there. So I got Valhalla here, and this is just automating this mix knob here. You see if I move that, that goes away. If you hit this button up here, that'll bring the automation back. But just automating the mix on both of these risers so you get that splash out of both of them right as that little pre-drop vocal hits. Alright, so let's take a look at the drop then. With the drop, let's just come right to the drums because that's always a good spot to start. I got obviously just the kick and the drums here. So obviously I've got a clap layer, two clap layers. I won't go into all the layers, but then I've got a little bit like of a swingy clap here. I really like using these kind of like 16th note swinging, groovy kind of, just whether you use them with claps or hats or snares, it just adds a lot of groove to the track. So hitting that with this snare that I've got here, and then this little fill here, it's kind of like a little perk. All that together just really kind of builds the groove out a little bit and gives you just, I like things groovy, so I like building it as groovy as I can. And then I've got 3 hat layers. I don't usually do that many, but with this one there was a reason why. The main hat here is 2 layers, the main open hat. One is this kind of like metal, really attack heavy sound. And then this other one kind of finishes off and rounds out the end of the sound. Kind of sounds like a knife or a sword being sharpened. That's kind of the effect I was going for. And then I layered it with this kind of closed hat. And that just gives it that little extra sizzle on top. I'll play them all together for you. You can hear that. Put it back in. Gives it just that extra little brightness on top. So, and then this cool little perk I thought sounded kind of like a piano stab, maybe like a chord stab. I guess it's a perk, but check it out. And then in the context of the drums. So that kind of rounds out the drums. I try to get them as groovy as I can, hitting some of these off notes. Get your grid into 16ths and start finding some groovy little spots to put some of these little hits in. That, the claps, snares, that's going to really make a big difference with your drums. So let's see what else we got down here. Got these little candy pieces, kind of like vocal shots. I should have put them in vocals. I actually don't even use this kind of group anymore. I just put everything under leads. But this definitely should have been a vocal. It's just kind of like a ah. And then this one here, just a hey. I think I might have even layered something there with that. Can't tell. It's been a while since I've been in this project. So, but those are some of the pieces, some of the like lead sounds that kind of round out that first part of the drop, and then the bass line, obviously. And let me bring in the drums here so you can listen to what the drums and the bass line sound off, because that's pretty much what I usually start off with. You can tell there's obviously some stuff missing there. It feels a little empty, so those shots here, the hey and the little vocal shots that I added there. There's also these cool little shots here, so I'll do one at a time. This kind of synth stab right at the beginning. That's a cool one. As soon as I found that one, it sounded like it needed to go in there. Then there's these two, which are kind of like To me, it sounds like a zippy kind of sounds. One's going one way, one's kind of going another way, but I'll add them in here just so you can kind of see how it changes the vibe of everything. So that starts filling it out a little bit more, and you can see a lot of with a lot of these leads and stuff like that. A lot of the lows are cut here. On this one, lows are cut here. This one even has a little bit too much of a sharp attack. If you have something that's really sharp and kind of cutting through a little bit too much, you can put a glue compressor on it and bring the attack all the way down. That'll help kind of like dampen those sharp transients a little bit. So, and then in the first section, there's really not too many vocals. There's just a little vocal hit here, the yeah we, and then this guy over here, just to kind of add a little spice and flavor. Oh, let me take that off. And that's pretty much it. A little down sweep for the drop. And then the second section of the drop, I won't obviously go back through everything else again, but I had this cool little transition lead here. That was pretty cool. I wish I had the MIDI here so I could show you guys exactly what I did with it, but I know I did a lot of automation going through. I think I automated some saturation, filters opening. I could have even done maybe like some sort of chorus or something like that, just to kind of give it some movement, give it some extra grit, and just have it open up. So that's kind of how I got this guy. And this is when the Keep It Moving vocal comes in. So I thought it was just like a really infectious vocal that would just make people want to dance. So stuck it in here. It works off of this one a little bit, the yeah we, because I was just thinking yeah we keep it moving kind of thing, just having them play off of each other back and forth. So there's that there. Little things like this little cymbal reverser in there, just to kind of give it, give a little, put a little texture on it too. Actually, I'm not sure if I put that texture on there. If that, no, that's actually some Foley. Look at that. I thought that was a hat. There's a little reversed piece of Foley. So yeah, little details like that can go a long way for you. So, and then this last section here of the drop, this is kind of like some people call it a cool down. I like to use it to just transition to whatever you're going to be doing later, whether it's a bridge or a break. Or just a rebuild back into another drop. This is a good section. Just kind of take some of the things that you've already used in the rest of the drop. Like I used this vocal, kind of chopped it up, did it a little bit differently. Added some more like atmosphere type stuff in here, just to kind of change the mood of the drop a little bit, so that you know that you're going into a new section after that. So I'll let you listen to that real quick. So that kind of like changes the mood a little bit, gets you ready to go into the break. The break hits, and I'm not going to go over the break too much. You know, there's like some atmospheric stuff, some pads. The second build, I try to do different stuff from build 1 to build 2, from drop 1 to drop 2, breaks. I always try to do just something a little bit different as the song evolves, so that you're not feeling like you've already heard that section of the song before, that there's at least something a little bit new from section to section for you. So in the second build, I did like this little break beat thing with the kick. I'll let you hear that with the drums. And I just did it for 4 bars, and then just had the 4 on the floor pattern come back, so that it just starts getting you ready for that drop again. But little things like that can make a big difference, just to kind of break up the 4 on the floor, because you're always hitting that. It can give a nice little variation for people. I'll play that through to the second drop, because the second drop, that's where my favorite part of the song is. Yeah, so that's my favorite part. And you can tell that this is actually an older part, an older version of the project, because the vocal that I ended up putting right here, that's not the vocal that I ended up using, but I wanted to try and go back so I could show you guys as much of the MIDI as possible, because as I progress each project, I bounce things to audio just to kind of clean things up in the mix. If you're having problems with mud or clarity in your mix, bouncing everything to audio and working from that can help out a lot. It helps me out immensely. So, but yeah, the cool thing about drop 2 is this lead. It's kind of like a basic saw type lead, but I added an LFO to it and just had it moving really fast, so it kind of gives you that fan kind of sound. I thought that sounded really cool. And then you can see on the second one, I kind of did some automation with the auto pan here, just so it kind of went back and forth a little bit, and then kind of moved as it progressed to be a little bit faster. You can hear here. So just little things like that can add some flavor and variation to your song. And then, oh, one of the other big things I did here too, because of like the vibe of this section of the song kind of changed a little bit with this lead, I decided to have all the MIDI notes hitting on my root note, D sharp, where you can see the rest of the bass line. I would go to the third, which is F sharp, over here, and then I would have, just start hitting the bass line from there, and then even, have a little bit of variation there. For this first part of this second drop, I just went with all the root note because it was just kind of dirty and hard and just kind of just pounding and pumping. So that was just like a little change that felt like it went with the vibe of what was going on at that time. So yeah, I mean, those are the main things here. The only other thing I would say is in the second half of the song here, I changed up the vocal just a little bit. Instead of having it say, "Keep it moving," I did a little vocal chop with it. Yeah, just to give it, like I said, another little bit of variation from before. And that's it. That's it pretty much there. So I appreciate you guys checking it out. I'll play a little bit more of it here as we go out. And if I missed something and you guys wondering, have some questions about the project, let me know in the comments. I will answer every single person that drops a comment in there. I want to make sure I answer your questions, give you guys some clarity on what's going on here. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys.